Hey guys, welcome back. This is Not Lambers of Invoked 101, and today we're doing a deck profile over Spellbooks. I actually used to have this deck way back when, before Spellbook of Judgment was banned, but I actually got rid of it after that. I got rid of most of the deck after Judgment was hit. So, but now I got all of it put back together. This is a pretty okay build. I've played it against Mio along with a couple other people, and it does work okay. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but when it does go off, it goes off, and it is pretty great. Anyways, before we get into the deck profile, down in the description is a link to our Discord. You guys can talk to us on there. Our general chat is open to the public, and right next to it should be our link to the Patreon. Anything you back us with on there goes right back in the deck profiles. But let's get the extra deck and the spells and traps off this side, and let's talk about the monster lineup. So the first monster we run is arguably the most important, and that is triple Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. This guy says that when he's normal summoned or flip face up, that you get to add one Spellbook spell card from your deck to your hand. Super great card, not once per turn, just super useful. And then after that we have triple High Priestess of Prophecy. This card is awesome. You reveal 3 Spellbook spell cards with different names in your hand. Oh, no, they don't have to have different names. Huh, hang on. Oh man, and then you get a special summon this card, and then once per turn you can banish a spellbook from your graveyard and pop a card, which is pretty cool. And then lastly is kind of the win con of the deck. We have triple Jowgin, the Spiritualist. You can discard a card and then blow up all special summon monsters on the field, and then while he's face up on the field, your opponent cannot special summon monsters. Very cool card, but we do have an alternative win con, and that is Silent Magician. I added this in because I thought that she'd be really cool for the deck. I know that a lot of Duel Links players use this, and I had one in my binder and I was like, this could be really cool to play, because if you could get her and Jowgin out, you'll have to get Jowgin out first, but if you can do it. And then she basically gains 500 attack for each card in your hand, and then she also has the ability to, once per turn during either player's turn, negate a spell card, which is pretty awesome. And then if she dies, she summons the Big Silent Magician, but I'm not playing the Big Silent Magician, so. But yeah, you also special summon. She can't be normal summoned or set. You have to special summon her by tributing a spellcaster, and you unfortunately can't revive her with stuff like Monster Reborn or anything like that, so that kind of sucks, but it's alright. That's it for the monsters. I'm only playing 10 monsters. And then we're playing a super heavy spell lineup, like just massive. So the first ones we're playing is triple Spellbook of Secrets. Add 1 Spellbook card from your deck to your hand. You can only activate 1 Spellbook of Secrets per turn. Very cool card, just searches stuff. After that we of course have the next one, which is triple Spellbook of Knowledge. This card is awesome. Basically what it says is send the spellcaster from your field or to the graveyard, or from your field, or 1 spellbook card from your hand to the graveyard. Draw 2 cards. You can only activate 1 per turn. This is a super great card. Oddly enough, I'm pretty sure that if you use Master to copy its effect, you still have to send from hand or field. Triple Spellbook of Fate. This is the last 3 of. This card is legit one of the best spellbook cards ever, and I wouldn't have this card if it wasn't for Alpha Penguin Soldier. Big shout out to him for hooking me up with 2 more copies of this. So this card has 3 different effects depending on how many spellbook cards you banish from your graveyard. The first one lets you bounce a set spell or trap. The second one is a Book of Moon. It lets you flip up or flip face down a monster, and then the third one just banishes 1 card on the field, non-targeting. So very cool. And that's the last 3 of. So then we have 2 Spellbook of the Master. This says that you can copy a spellbook spell card effect, a normal one, in the graveyard by having but you have to control a spellbook, not a spellbook, you have to control a spellcaster, and you also have to reveal another spellbook in your hand to do it. After that, we have double Library of the Crescent. So this says when you have no spellbook spell cards in your graveyard, you reveal 3 different spellbook spell cards with different names from your deck, and your opponent randomly picks one for you to add. So this card's pretty dope. Got myself some super rares because I didn't like the way the rare looked, and I couldn't help myself. This card is so pretty as a super. And then 2 Spellbook of Eternity. This card recovers 1 banished spellbook, and I think it's a hard one to return. Let me look. Yeah, so what it does is you target a banished spellbook and then you add it to your hand, but you can only use one of them, one eternity per turn. And next up for the last we have 2 of the field spell. This thing is awesome. So this is Spellbook, the Grand Spellbook Tower. This card is really cool. It's always been cool. It says once per turn during your standby phase, if you have a spellcaster on field or in grave, you can shuffle. No, not shuffle. You can put 1 Spellbook spell card from your graveyard either on top or on bottom of your deck. And then if this card is destroyed, you can special summon 1 spellcaster monster from your deck whose level is equal to or less than the amount of Spellbook spell cards in your graveyard. So very cool. I'm gonna kind of get these out of the way. And then for the one-ofs, we're playing 1 power, which buffs a spellcaster by 1,000, and then if it kills something in battle, you get a search a spellbook. 1 wisdom, which makes a spellcaster unaffected by spells or traps this turn. And 1 spellbook of life. This is kind of like a Monster Reborn. What it does is you banish 1 spellcaster from your graveyard and reveal a spellbook to target another spellcaster and special summon it, equip it with this card, and if it's equipped with this card, the equipped monster gains levels equal to the banished monster's level, which is kind of interesting, but then you remember that spellbooks are kind of an Xyz deck, which is really strange, so... but yeah, that's it for the spellbook stuff. And then for the last cards and the last spells in the deck, we have triple Card of Demise. So this says you can't special summon, which is a little garbo, but I think this is better than Pot of Extravagance because this deck does do a lot of searching, and I think that this is a lot better than Pot of Extravagance, especially since you can easily empty out your hand by setting stuff, and since the vast majority of the deck is spells and traps, I think it's a good card to play. But if you do have Extravagance, I would consider playing that over this, if you do have it. But I think that this is another good option. And then 1 Book of Moon, or not Book of Moon, Moon Mirror Shield. This is kind of like your win con with Jowgen. Oops. So if you equip this to Jowgen, and they don't have backer removal, you basically win because you can just keep swinging over everything with Jowgen, and they can't special summon. So this is really the win con for the deck, unfortunately. So I might bump this up to 2, but it's basically just playing Protect Blue Boy. All right, so that's it for the spells. We do have traps. All right, so we play a 3-2-1 ratio with the traps. The 3 of is triple Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, which unfortunately doesn't really like to work with Card of Demise. Because it says discard a card and then bounce a card back to the top of the deck. So, but this is a really cool card, just really cool utility. Double Mirror Force, this is a big Lamau. If your opponent just like attacks you, you can just flip this up and blow up all their stuff, because a lot of stuff actually doesn't have destruction protection anymore. A lot of stuff does float, but not a lot of it has actual destruction protection, so this works. And then lastly, 1 Solemn Judgment. That's it. It's just the biggest negate in the game, so. Alright. Moving into the extra deck. The extra deck is super simple. We're only playing two cards in the extra deck because I can't summon the third one. Although if you could play a third one of these. I just don't because it's in another deck. And that's Crowley, the First Profiteer. This is really the only card you need to run in the extra deck, just because like it's the only important thing for your deck. So what Crowley does is that if he's link summoned, you reveal 3 Spellbook cards with different names from your deck. Your opponent randomly adds one, picks one for you to add to your hand, and then shuffle the rest back in the deck. You can only use this effect to Crowley, and then once per turn, 1 level 5 or higher spellcast you can in your hand can be normal summoned without tributes, which is pretty cool. And that's it for the deck. It's a very simple deck, and I really do like it. I'm excited to play this deck. I don't know if I'm going to play it at casual locals for the next vlog. I know that usually I'll talk about that. I started talking about that a little bit more, but I'm not sure if I'm going to play this one yet. I definitely know that I want to. But tell me what you guys thought about this deck in the comments below. I'm really excited to hear some feedback for this one, because I do want to make this deck just about as good as it can be. And I think I'm about there, because this deck runs pretty well, and I do enjoy it. But anyways, Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.